Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sessions. I'm your host, Kavinci Isidore, and I am honored to have this young lady here with me today. She is my Kimberell. Man, when I tell you when it comes to, come on, you know it's true. When it comes to diction, vocals, sound, notes, she is on me, and I appreciate for that. Family, welcome the one and only Nazaree Williams.
Thank you.
What's up,
Thank
sis?
You so
How you
much.
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm
How
good.
are
I
you?
can't
That
complain.
introduction kind of, got me taking it back. I mean, I'm nowhere in the ranks of Kimberell,
Stop.
but I thank God for the gift He gave me.
And I appreciate you for being that person in my life.
Hallelujah.
I really do. So just to go ahead and start, man, go straight into it, man, because I know there's a lot of things that I want to ask you.
Okay.
But primarily, what is worship to you?
Okay, I believe that worship is simply an act of obedience. We often feel that worship is just relegated to a sound or to a song or a posture or a tempo. But instead, I believe that worship is when you actually yield your will in exchange for God's will, just as Abraham did when he had to sacrifice his son Isaac. He actually said that we're not going to go and do a sacrifice. Instead, we're going to go up to the mount and worship. And I feel that once, people of God understand that in the kingdom of God, it's our wills being interned to God, that He actually then will receive our praise. Just as in the royal court, you have a king, and then you have the subjects who come in, and then they acknowledge and they honor God with, or honor that individual with their service. I think that, as people of God, we're doing the same thing when we worship Him.
That's awesome. And I mean, just watching your worship is so infectious. Like, just the things you do, the way you sing, just how you command. It's like your presence is like, wow. But I know it's Holy Ghost behind it as well. And, just to basically, every time that we're practicing and you're teaching us songs, which she's a great teacher, if you guys don't know, you often say, study your craft. Yeah. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, your delivery is everything. Of course, as worship leaders and singers, we tend to, fully focus on and say, hey, the anointing is going to take over. Okay, but prior to that, you need to make sure you know what you're going to do. For example, if you are preparing a meal, you have to make sure you have all of your ingredients together. You got to know when to add the ingredients, when to mix, how much heat, when to take out, and when to, go ahead and plate your food. Your plating is important too.
Oh, yeah.
So when you actually study your craft, you're actually knowing how you're going to deliver the song. And then, of course, once you've done that piece, you can then worship freely.
Yeah. Wow. And, because looking at it and listening to you and seeing you with that, it just seems like you have it on point, And one thing I do like about you is that you're very humble.
Yes.
in many cases.
Lord help me.
And you always try to kind of let people know or educate people about the gospel. And I know you share a lot of music.
Yeah.
Why, I'm gonna be real. Why do you share, that kind of history with people such as myself who, really don't understand the gospel too much?
Yeah. I think everything in life is about the foundation. Yeah. And if you have a strong foundation, everything that's built upon it is able to grow and has longevity. Yeah. So, as singers, and if you're singing a certain genre, I think it's important that you understand what you're singing and how to deliver that. You'll hear people talk about when to squall, and you'll hear people talk about the riffs and the runs. Okay, there's actually a craft behind it and a skill behind it, but, my foundation kind of stems from as a child. I always had music around me. Yeah. For example, many of you may have heard, but my mom had this testimony that she desired a daughter that would sing praises to God. And so, when I came on the scene, so to speak, I always thought that everybody reacted to sound in the same way. So when you hear a sound, I thought that everybody, you hear that note, you sing that note, and there's nothing else that would be around that except the actual note. And so for me, the sound of music is just like, it's just innate. And as worshipers, that should be, your stance and your position. Yeah. And I think for me, it kind of started with just, hearing worship, hearing songs sung a lot. My mom, as she prepared meals, she sung. And then my godmother, Mother Hattie Parker, she again, when she was singing, she would worship God. She would do just that. She would just yield herself to God. And I remember my first solo, so to speak. I was about 8 years old. Again, I never knew I had a voice or a talent.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I didn't even think I did. But, you know, because again, everything I thought was a sound, and everybody should be able to emulate the sounds you hear.
Right.
So, you know, I would hear a commercial, I would sing the commercial, I would sing the jingle. You know, Whitney Houston at that time, you know, The Greatest Love was like the hit during that time. So, you know, I would just sing what I heard. And so my choir director, she said, Nazaree, I want you to sing a song. The song is called Fully Committed. And so, you know, the words are simple. All that I am, all that I hope to be, all of my desires and all of my abilities. Lord, I'm fully committed to your will, to your way. I'll make the sacrifice to do what you ask me. Here's the key point. My love's forever. Jesus, you're all that I need. And I'll never repay what you did for me. So here's the story behind that.
Okay.
My brother, he would be in the audience, and you know, my family, we were all at church, but every single time I sung the song, I would cry. And my brother would be like, yo, why are you singing that song anyway? You don't even know what committed means, but you up there singing the song, what are you crying for? And I think at that point, my heart had an understanding that if I surrender and commit my life, that I'm actually worshiping God with all that I am. And I think that's kind of where it starts for me. So again, that's the foundation. Now, worship songs and gospel music has kind of changed since then.
Yeah.
And I think for newcomers, if you will, just kind of get to your question, I think all singers should at least know where the foundation is and then build from that to always keep it true to the sound.
Yeah. Gotcha. Man. Nuggets. Golden nuggets. So, who inspires you vocally in the music industry?
Okay.
And worship as well, as a worshiper as well.
Okay, so my inspiration, as you can see, the Clark sisters, John P. Key, Dara Coley, again, you know, Kiara Shear, she's in that lineage, Kim Burrell. I mean, the list for me goes on and on. I don't really have a specific person that I would say is my inspiration, but I don't know. I think it's just those that are pure with the worship is those who I gravitate to.
Gotcha. Okay, so this is not even on my notes, but I just want to know, just to lighten it up a little bit.
Okay.
What's your most embarrassing thing that happened to you during worship?
While singing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you put me on the spot. Yo. I remember one time I had to cough. And it was a part of the song where I had to sustain the note.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I got a little tripped up and I was like, okay, you know, Nazaree, are you going to cough? I mean, what are you going to do? But then the cough actually just started coming out. So I just said, okay, well, I'm going to go with it. And I'm going to take a breath and I'm going to go right back into the song. So that's maybe not the most embarrassing, but that is an embarrassing moment.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's just say you're up there worshiping and you get into that zone, that worship zone, that you're just in it. How do you get out of that? Like once you're in that zone to kind of reel everything back in and, wrap up the song or go to the next part of the song?
That's a good question because I don't ever want to leave that moment.
Gotcha.
So, although I am required to sing a certain song in a set, I have song A, song B, because I respect the house that I'm in and the platform that I'm on, I'm aware that, okay, Jesus, you give me a second, I'm going to get this 15 minutes out of the way, but majority of the times after I've sung, after I've led praise and worship, even some background, by the time service is over, that same song comes back up, and on my way home, on my drive home, I'm still singing. So although the song has to end, I don't let it end in my spirit, if that makes sense. So, again, I'll just become subject to the prophet, to the man of the house, and, I'll kind of yield myself in that regard, and just be mindful of that, just be respectful of it.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to actually transition into the next part of the show, which is sing that word.
Okay.
So
word association. Okay.
Yes. So I'm going to give you a word.
Okay.
Associated with a couple of songs. I want you to find a song attached to that word and sing it.
Okay. Am I restricted to a genre?
That's a good point.
I'm just saying.
No.
Okay.
All right. So, first word, favor.
Favor. I give you favor. You'll never want for anything.
I never heard that before.
Karen Clark Shear.
You see, this is why you be trying to get me up apart. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Sky.
So many. I could give you, I'll stick with the same line. The sky is the limit to what I can have. Just believe and receive it. God will perform it today.
Gotcha. Heaven. And it must be a hymn.
It must be a hymn.
Yes.
There's a highway to heaven. None can walk up there. Thank you very much.
Broken.
Broken?
Broken.
Broken spirit. Contrite heart.
Yeah.
Music.
Yeah. Oh, look. Hey, man. Molly Music, boy, I'm telling you, if you guys haven't heard of him, go check him out. Well, let me stop right there.
Oh, boy.
Father.
Our Father, we love to call you. For him.
Awesome. Last word. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think so. I am. I hope I get it.
Great.
Great?
Mm-hmm.
Great is the Lord, He's my comforter. He has never left me yet.
Awesome.
Yay.
I appreciate you for having me.
Oh, thank you for having me. You know, it's just a whole nother experience, and I thank God for that. Thank you for considering me as a participant.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, family. Now we're going to transition into my favorite part of the episode, which is freestyle and worship. Come on and worship with us as we worship.
Jesus is Lord of all. He's loving and He's gracious. He died so that we might have life more abundantly. Consider His will in exchange for yours. I love you. I love you. I love you, Lord, today. Because you cared for me in such a special way. That's why I praise you. I lift you up and I magnify your name. That's why my heart is filled with praise. My heart, my mind, my soul belongs to you. You paid the price for me way back on Calvary. That's why I praise you. I lift you up and I magnify your name. That's why my heart is filled with praise. That's why my heart is filled with praise. Oh, Jesus, you're why my heart is filled with praise.
All right, family, that wraps up another episode of Sessions. Stay tuned for what's coming out soon. Remember, pray, listen, and worship.